Hello everyone. The Fife Electrification Project has advanced quite a lot in the past year since I last made a proper video on it. Yes, I'm slacking, I'm very sorry. So I think it's only right to make a much needed update video, hope you all enjoy. As it's been over a year since the original video, there's a lot to cover, so I'll go over basic points then cover them in further detail later in the video. Phase 1 of the project between Haymarket and Dalmeny is nearly completed, with all masts in place beside the track, waiting for overhead wires to be installed. Phase 2 of the project between Seafield and Thornton Junction has begun to ramp up in recent months, with masts being put up around the Seafield area south of Kirkcaldy. Phase 3 from Thornton Junction to Carden Den has not begun yet, although several planning permissions have been put in place, like the new Carden Den station footbridge, mentioned later. And finally, Phase 4 between Thornton and Ladybank is also undergoing preparatory works such as bridge parapets and modifications. The section of line up to the fourth bridge has been under construction for the past 4 years, beginning in summer of 2022 and continuing on until late this year. As a little recap, the Fife project was originally announced in June of 2022 by former Transport Minister Jenny Gilruth, before being paused later that year awaiting a refreshed decarbonisation action plan. People began noticing new piles and masts being erected just after spring of 2024, and eventually a year later in September of 2025, the project was re-announced along with the Borders Railway being electrified in the same £342 million budget. January of this year seen a large line closure between Haymarket and Inverkeithing stations to allow for a crucial bridge demolition and track lower to take place, as well as some OLE works around the Haymarket junctions over the New Year period. Fast forward to the middle of March, the first phase is now very close to completion, with very little needing to be rebuilt. The overbridge adjacent to Standingstane Road just south of Dalmeny is currently being rebuilt after its demolition in January, with expected completion in early April according to roadworkscotland.org notices. The former South Gyle Road Bridge, which was closed on the 28th of July 2025, has been converted into a footbridge only, and has increased in estimated duration from 187 working days to 326 working days, a massive jump in the past couple of months. As for the Ladywell Avenue Road Bridge, which has been closed since the 21st of August 2025, is still due to be closed for 220 working days, and is set to open August this year. Completed works on the line include parapets being heightened at Lennymuir, Turnhouse Road, Glasgow Road on the A8, a private road bridge being demolished north of Edinburgh Gateway Station, and Meadow Place Road also receiving parapet extensions. More recently, registration arms and overhead wires are being installed up to Saughton Junction and also around the airport area. These works are being carried out at certain times of the week to minimise noise pollution for locals and to maximise work productivity and efficiency. I contacted Network Rail to inquire about when these works would be complete, and I received a very helpful reply along with the document shown on screen now. Devegetation and fencing works are being carried out until the 30th of April, on a mix of day and night shifts from Saturday through to Thursday. These shift times are between midnight and 6am, as well as 7:30am to 5pm. This activity is obviously going to be loud, and so the noise level has been set to medium/high. Onto the overhead equipment itself, the installation of this equipment between Murrayfield and Saughton is due to last until the 5th of September, being carried out on Saturday nights between midnight and 8am. The registration of this equipment is due to take place all week round on shifts lasting until 6am from midnight, again receiving a low noise rating. Saughton to Dalmeny, however, will only last until the 4th of July, with shift times between Saturday midnight and 8am, being given another low noise rating. In conclusion for this phase, given the rate of progress we've seen recently, I wouldn't be surprised if we see LNER using these wires as early as the December 2026 timetable, as the last of the OLE works finish in mid-September, allowing them 3 months to test and enter the wires into service. Well before any overhead line equipment was announced, several bridges were announced to be both modified and or rebuilt. Just north of Kirkcaldy Station, Benochie Road Bridge is currently listed to be demolished and rebuilt over 295 working days. This closure is expected to start between the 12th of May and the 11th of October this year. Rosebery Terrace seen parapets being extended late last year, with a further closure to ensure functionality in early February. And in October 2025, a member of the ScotRail group on groups.io received a letter from Network Rail stating that overhead line equipment would be installed between Seafield, Kirkcaldy and Thornton North Junction between the 11th of October 2025 and the 23rd of December 2026. More bridges are due to be modified as part of the second phase of electrification, including Randolph Road Bridge, which will involve parapet heightening over 30 working days between the 23rd and 31st of March. A new footbridge is planned to be constructed in the Borland area, with visual being supplied by Amco Giffen on the Fife Planning Applications website, which are publicly available to view online. As well as this, parapet alterations are also taking place on the Viewforth footpath, in order to extend the side walls to a safe height for overhead lines to run under. There are many other bridges in the Kirkcaldy area which may need modified in order to support the new infrastructure, such as the Inverteal Viaduct near Starks Park Stadium and Balwearie High School. Back on the subject of OLE, there's been major progress between Seafield and Starks Park, with over 70 new masts being installed over the past month. There is also talk of a new access point which has opened up between Dysart and Thornton Junction to facilitate the installation of piles on the long straight section of line which may already be in progress. Unfortunately for Phase 3, as of March 2026, no official announcement or post has been made indicating any start of any lineside equipment being installed. However, according to Google Maps, SPL Powerlines has set up a compound at Thornton Yard, just off of Strathroy Road outside of Thornton. Currently, there is no publicly available information on the site, and upon checking it out in person, there were many SPL Powerline signs, but none pointed to any overhead line activity specifically. One of the bigger station upgrades in the Fife project is Carden Den Station receiving a new footbridge. Currently no dates have been given on when these upgrades will be carried out, however visuals have been supplied again on the Fife Planning website and on screen now. These visuals show both stairs and lifts up to a footbridge and overhead line equipment in the background. Due to the current state of accessibility of the station, it is great news for Carden Den locals finally seeing improvements to their station. One of the bigger works in this phase is the closure and rebuilding of Thornton Station Road and footbridge. This closure is expected to last 310 working days and is estimated to begin between May and August this year. The closure of this bridge will be highly disruptive as many local bus routes cross this bridge as well as regular traffic, and there is no diversionary routes nearby which offer as quick of a journey. This will most likely add around 5 to 10 minutes to get between each side of the bridge. Like Phase 3, the fourth phase of the project is still in the preliminary stages and no work has yet been announced. As usual, Network Rail and their contractors have been planning ahead and have already begun work on a number of bridges that need adjusting for overhead equipment. The first bridge which has been altered on this section of line is the road bridge between Main Street and Melbourne Avenue in Coatland of Balgony, just south of Markinch Station. This bridge has enough clearance for OLE but required taller side walls to fit the standard bridge safety regulations. Roadworks were carried out from the end of January into the middle of February. Another small Victorian bridge in the area is the Lady Nina Square footpath, which was demolished over the New Year closure, and a replacement structure is currently being assembled. This new bridge is due to open in early April and site demobilisation is to occur shortly after. The Mitchell Terrace road bridge adjacent to Markinch Station seen trial holes being dug into the road in January, but no further notices have been published on the matter. After contacting Network Rail a few months ago, before the original trial notice, it was said that no replacement structure will be required and it will only be new parapets needed. The bridge next to Newton Farm Cottages is listed for extensive parapet works between the 23rd of May and 1st of June and is scheduled to last 25 working days. A smaller private road bridge near Kirkforther Fuse is also due to receive parapets for the electrification, during set times overnight between 10 o'clock and 7 in the morning, beginning 23rd of March to the 31st. 3 separate listings shown on roadworkscotland.org display traffic management plans on the A914 near Muirhead, being required to facilitate safe access for off-road rail bridge replacement works. These traffic management procedures are to be carried out from 7 AM to 5 PM on Monday to Friday. These shifts will occur on the following dates: the 30th of March, 6th of April and 13th of April over a 3-week period. Just outside Furkey, Google Maps shows a location marker with the name Amco Falkland Compound, which contains the building materials and machines required to construct and replace a small farm bridge just off of the A92. Several smaller notices for bridges have been listed in the past for all terrain. However, most of this data isn't available anymore, so I can't accurately cover them in this video. Sorry about that, everyone. One final thing for the main project is its limits. After emailing Network Rail months ago, I was told that the northern limit for Phase 4 of the project was north of Ladybank Station. This will allow trains to charge while stopped at Ladybank Station and in the Perth Line passing loop, and being able to change power mode slightly after departing. This is due to the electrification continuing a further 100 odd metres north of the station before terminating, on both the main line to Dundee and also the branch line loop to Perth. Since the last video I made on this project, which is linked down in the description, there has been a substantial amount of progress with new mass and piles throughout. On the 27th of February 2026, the 100 metre active travel bridge opened to the public as a result of a £5.8 million investment. The new 4 metre wide structure will connect Kirkland and Mount Fleury for the first time since the railway was built. This is a massive milestone for the local community, cutting on foot and bike journey times from A to B. Back on topic of electrification, terminating poles have been added as well as masts in and about the approach to Leven station. There is still no masts at the station itself, excluding terminating masts and 2 other regular arms on the terminating side of Bobby Bridge. The Cameron Bridge and Diageo area have also seen improvement in the past 6 months. On the Fife Planning Applications website, a patch of land next to the railway outside of Diageo Distillery is undergoing a land use change, from woodland to operational railway land, and the intention to install overhead line equipment and erection of fencing. Cameron Bridge Station now has portal structures arcing over the station platforms, with droppers and arms now attached and swung parallel to the track. There are also lots of masts and double droppers on the approaches to both stations. For more footage or for a greater idea of how much the electrification has progressed, you can check out my channel where there is a full-length video showing the line's progression from Leven to Thornton Junction. The new Network Rail feeder station adjacent to Thornton Junction is the new substation which will supply the newly electrified lines in Phase 2, 3, 4 and Leven. This feeder station is currently under construction with roads being dug up and cables being laid between the 275 kV substation in Leslie or Glenothes all the way down to Thornton via the B921 road and Bankhead roundabout. These roadworks have been going on since last year and are expected to finish between May and August this year. Presumably the final roadwork, as it's right next to the feeder station location, is due to begin between the 18th of May and the 17th of August. The description simply states, excavate, backfill and reinstate for a new connection, which is highly likely it is connected to the ongoing feeder station works. There is no concrete final date of completion, however it is likely that the feeder station will be operational by the start of 2027, allowing for both the Leven line and second phase of the Fife Electrification Project to use the wires when they may be needed. Thanks to everyone for watching this video. It really means the world to me that people like my content and want to see more. I'm going to ramp up my video production from now on as I'm coming up on a lot of free time soon, so keep your eye out on new videos coming soon. Hint hint, class 222s. Thanks again for watching, make sure to like and subscribe if you've made it this far, and see you all again soon. Bye bye.